Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. On today's episode, I'm sitting down with an amazing podcast host of a podcast called MILF Podcast. It's not Moms I'd Like to It's Moms I'd Like to Follow. So we're going to keep it clean. Just kidding. But we're going to be talking with her, and I'm so excited to bring on my guest, Jennifer Tracy. How are you?
Hi, Madison. I'm good. How are you?
I'm so excited.
I'm so thrilled to be here. Really, really. Thank you.
And I also have to say that you're also a writing coach, and we're going to talk about that more. But first, I want to talk about this MILF podcast because I think it's great, and I think it's awesome. And you seem to be so into female empowerment. So, talk about that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really fun. We're about 83 episodes in, and I've been doing it I haven't missed a week, so that's 83 weeks consecutive.
Yep.
I'm a little nutty like that.
No, but, that's good. You have to do that.
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a thing.
It's consistency matters.
So, yeah, I started it because I really, I suffered from postpartum depression really badly. My son is 10 now. And back then, podcasts were around, but they weren't what they are today. And I was so isolated and lonely, and, I didn't have family nearby. My husband was on location shooting a film. I mean, we're divorced now, but we were married then. And so it just felt like I just didn't know what I was doing. And I had this one baby group I went to every week with these other moms and some dads. But, and it was 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, it was a 2-hour class, that I felt like I had a community, and that I felt like I could hear stories about how other parents were doing this crazy thing of raising a human being.
It's true.
And when I had the idea for the podcast, I said, I want to not only talk about female empowerment and sexuality, because I felt like I was just completely dead sexually after I had a kid. I was never going to want to have sex again. I was never going to feel sexy. I was never going to feel creative.
Yeah, interesting.
And so then there was a time when he was about 2.5 when I started waking up to that again after I got treated for the postpartum. But I wanted to talk about that. But moreover, I wanted to have a platform where women could tune in anytime, anywhere, and listen to two moms talking about all the things: motherhood, being an entrepreneur, trying to pursue something while you're raising kids, having a partner, not having a partner.
Right. There's just so many different angles, And it's hard because no matter how involved the man is, we still have to push that out of our hoo-ha.
Yes, that is true.
And deal with all the hormonal things and
breastfeeding, not breastfeeding, sleep deprivation. I mean, and it's usually, they want mommy more than they want daddy.
Well, right. That's true. They're like, that's a tit that feeds me.
Yeah.
That's true.
And even in, same-sex couples where there's two moms, it usually, if it's one gave birth, that happens where it's they gravitate towards one parent.
Yeah.
Although I'd be interested, I don't have the experience, I'd be interested to talk to same-sex male parents. I'm wondering how that works. If there's
interesting.
Yeah,
that is true.
I haven't thought of that. Maybe I'll have a DILF. Although I hate that word, is not sexy. But I should have.
No, but it's amazing. Do you want to know who my DILF of the year is, or DILF of my lifetime is?
Of course.
Elon Musk is a DILF.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Elon Musk, if you ever listen to this, come on my podcast.
I feel that. Yes.
And my face.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I love you so much. Oh my God.
Oh, I just put it out to the universe.
You never know. That's how we manifest things.
This is true.
Yeah.
You should have a DILF. That would be awesome.
I think it's, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really, really good. So what are some of the stories that you have heard, that have blown you away on your podcast that you can, if you remember the episode, let us know so they can then go find them and listen to them.
Absolutely. Well, May Lindstrom was on my show. I can't remember the episode number, but you can just look it up by her name. You can do a search on my website, milfpodcast.com.
Okay.
Or on wherever you listen to podcasts. But so May Lindstrom she makes, what are they called? What do you wash your face with? Beauty products.
Skincare.
I couldn't think of the word. Skincare. She makes these beautiful skincare. It's all organic. It's all like really beautifully made, very high end. And she's built this from her kitchen. She was a chef, and she started cooking in her kitchen because she had terrible skin allergies.
Wow.
And so I found her products first, and I fell in love with her products. And then I reached out to her. I said, I would love to have you on the podcast. And she came to my home, and we sat for an hour and a half. Like, this was a long one because I just couldn't stop. I was like not going to hit stop.
Yes.
Her story is so remarkable. Like, she grew up in the middle of nowhere in Minnesota with no plumbing in the 80s, right? She's, younger than I am. Her family had no plumbing, and then she moved to an artist high school, and then she found her way somehow to LA. She was homeless in LA. Then she moved to Mexico. Then she found her way to New Orleans. And in New Orleans, she was living with her girlfriend at the time. And she's now married to a man, and they have 2 kids. But at the time, she was like 19, and she was living in a house of vampires in New Orleans.
What?
And now she's like, a Silver Lake mom with 2 kids and this beautiful skincare company and a husband. And I'm just like, I would never know this if I didn't sit down and talk to her. And it's nowhere on her website. You know what I mean? It's like,
where can you buy her products?
Anywhere, maylindstrom.com, or she has them in some boutiques, I think, across the country. But they ship everywhere, and it's gorgeous. And I'm totally plugging May. Yeah. When you buy her products, she gives you like really big size samples of 2 products.
Okay.
So if you buy any one product, you get 2 products. Like, they're not samples that are in little bags.
Oh, I
hate
hate
tear
that.
those. It's
yeah.
like, they're in like glass jars. Like, you could put them in your purse, and they're just beautiful products.
Great for travel.
Great for travel.
Yeah.
So that blew me away, that she lived in a house. She didn't think she was a vampire, but she said, oh, yeah, because it was the cheapest place to live in the French Quarter. And so these people thought they were vampires. And I'm like, this is what our stories, like, are just so fabulous. And then now she's a mom, and, like, I don't know. So that was one that stood out.
Yeah. And do you ever have moms that have regret that they gave up their career? Maybe they're stay-at-home moms, and
oh yeah, sure.
How do they deal with that? Do they have resentment?
I think what is most common among almost every guest is that they say, you can't get away from mom guilt. You either have guilt because you're working and you're not with your kid,
right,
or if you're with your kid and you're not working, you feel guilty for not working and earning money and creating something for yourself. So
So how do you think that we learn to get rid of that guilt? It's tough, right? Because I don't have kids yet, but I want kids, and it's hard because it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to have a nanny and because I want to work,
of course,
and I want to show my kids that you can work and make a life for yourself, but it's just got to be so. I just can't imagine it right now.
It's a balance. I mean, it's a balance. And I remember asking Catherine Hahn that question. She's an actress, and she's always out of town. And her husband's amazing, and they just, he'll bring the kids to her, and they only have 2 weeks where she will only see the kids for a maximum of 2 weeks. Meaning 2 weeks between visits. But it's crazy. Like, they'll have to fly out to be with her on set, and I don't know how they balance it, but she's killing it right now in her career. And she said, and I had one guest that said, she said, your most fertile years are your best working years.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to be doing both at the same time. Unless you have kids in your early 20s, but nobody does that anymore. Because, like, my child I had when I was 34.
Right, because your 20s are meant to make really stupid decisions and
I wasn't
explore.
Ready. Yeah,
Yeah. When did you get married?
I got married. I was 30. I just turned 30 in 2005.
Okay, so you felt you had explored pastures, so to say.
I think so. I mean, thinking back, I was. God, 30 felt so old back then, but like I look at that now and I'm like, I was just such a baby. But
I know, it's so true.
Yeah.
But so how did you guys end up meeting?
We met through friends at a New Year's Eve party. I was the belly dancer.
Of course you were.
Because before I was a writer, and I've always been a writer, but before I was pursuing this and doing the podcast and everything, I was an actress and I had a million jobs, and one of those jobs was a belly dancer. So I was in a belly dancing troupe, and we would do weddings and we would do bar mitzvahs and we would do all these things. And then my New Year's Eve gig canceled out, and my friend Catty Yoon was having a party. And I said, hey, my gig canceled. Do you want me to come dance for the party?
Yeah.
And she said, yeah. And so I came and danced, and my husband then, I knew him. I'd seen him around, but we weren't friends or anything. And he was there with another girl.
Oh.
And he saw me, and he was like, done. And so I think 5 months later we were engaged. It was very fast.
So it's like you guys both knew.
Oh, yeah.
They always say that. Like my friends that have really good relationships, like actually the majority of them do. They always say, like, don't settle. You'll know when you know.
Yeah.
Like, don't, like, overthink everything.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like until you meet that person, you're like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
You're just judging everybody left and right.
Yeah.
You know, I go on dates and these poor guys, I'm just like.
And it's so hard to meet people. How do you go on dates? Are you on the apps?
I just joined them. I'm like back out there.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of matchmakers call me, but the matchmakers I got an issue with. The only reason I have an issue is because unless you're the paying client, like you're not the value.
I see.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if somebody's going to pay them $15,000, they're working for them. They're not working for you.
Sure.
You're just a number on a slot.
Yeah.
So what I found is that you would end up saying, this is my type, and then you would get not your type. You would get the guys, like I was their type, but so it felt kind of like a lot of waste of time, or they'll try to pressure you sometimes to go out with people that, you know, and it's kind of like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no.
No.
Yeah. Like if I'm going to do a matchmaker, I'm going to pay for it myself.
Yeah, definitely.
Because then I'm like, let the games begin. Line them up. You know, and then I can just rip them apart in a good way.
But I'm sure you get this a lot because you're exceptionally beautiful.
Oh, well,
don't you get people saying to you, "Oh, I bet you get asked out all the time"?
No,
but you don't, right?
Apparently, I'm not very approachable to the opposite sex.
Oh, I think it's intimidating.
Well, I don't know if it's that or if I just have like a bitchy looking face unless I smile, I'm like, you know. So I do get that too, or maybe she must be taken, or. It's a whole list of reasons. But I'm trying to hold the phenomenon in the belief that everything happens for a reason. So I haven't met that person because there was more I had to learn.
Yes.
There was more I had to do before that chapter.
Yes.
So I didn't have any looking back going, oh, I wonder if I had, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to have any. But I do. I mean, I hope I meet somebody and it's a quickie engagement. And that's the way to do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if it's the one, then why beat around the bush? Was the sex different when you knew it was the one?
I mean, it's weird to talk about that now because we're divorced, but...
Oh, that's right. At the time.
At the time. Yeah, I mean, everything was great. It was really great. But once we got engaged, we did wait to get married. We waited over a year.
Okay.
Because it was like, whoa, but yeah, I mean, everything was great. We were just best friends. We're still best friends. I just got off the phone with him, 30 minutes ago, and he was celebrating this thing with me, and he's with our kid now in LA, and I'm about to meet his new girlfriend, and
Okay, I was just about to wait. So how long has it been since the divorce?
We've been separated for 3 years and officially divorced just over a year.
Okay, and so all the feelings, obviously, emotionally, are gone.
Yeah. I mean,
the fact that you can meet his new girlfriend is a big step. Because if you still had feelings, it would be
would be weird. It would be weird. No, I'm really genuinely happy for him, and she sounds amazing. Like she just sounds like a really good, beautiful person.
Oh wow.
She's age appropriate for him. She's very pretty. She's a professional. She's really sweet with my son.
Oh God, that's all you could ask for.
Yeah,
right?
I think I'm grateful for her.
Yeah,
I welcome that into their lives and my life and however that fits. It doesn't have to be all weird.
Because you don't want your kid being raised by like a 21-year-old.
No, thank you.
Which could happen.
No, thank you.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Totally.
Is that my mom or my hot older sister?
Exactly.
I don't know
Yeah.
But that's crazy. So are you dating now?
Madison, I had a relationship on and off for a year with this man, and it ended in March. So now we're in January. So it's been almost a year ago. That was very tumultuous, and I'm glad that it's over because it was very painful. But I was like, it really messed me up. And I finally, at the end of this summer, I went, at the urging of my friends, I went back on the apps. I didn't want to do it. I was reluctant. And I had the worst date of my life.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
I mean, so do you want to hear about how he was picking food out of his teeth with a fork at the table? Or do you want to
hear all of it
about how he was doing farmer's blows into his kitchen sink at his apartment, which was about 300 square feet in your face?
What the? For those of you who don't know farmer's blows, it's basically how
Snot rocket.
Yeah.
That's the East Coast.
Yeah.
It's Snot rocket.
Oh my gosh.
Wait,
why were you at his place?
Well, okay, so he said, let's meet at my place.
Okay, that's red flag number one.
I know. We met outside his place, and he just showed me his place. He said, we can walk to the restaurant because he lived in a place in L.A. where it was, like, walkable. I said, sure, it was fine, which I guess, I could have been more careful, but I didn't think he was a murderer. But that's what they always say, right? I didn't think he was a murderer.
It's always those good-looking, charming ones that are.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah, and it kind of just got worse from there. There was no spark, no nothing. And at the end of the night, I just said, thank you so much. And I got in my car and I cried all the way home because I just felt like I'm never going to meet anybody.
Right.
And then I deleted the apps. I'd only been on it for 12 days, but I was like, this just doesn't work for me right now. Maybe it will again later, and I'm so focused on my work right now and my kid. He's 10. He's really attached to me. And I just feel like I'll meet the right person when the timing is right.
See, I totally believe that. Like, I feel like you can't really, like, rush it. And you just have to kind of play things out. And
I have girlfriends who date on those apps like it is their job. I mean, they are like 5-6 dates a week. They're just constantly on it. And they're like, this is how it is. It's
like
a numbers game. It's another
Jeez. Right? Do they have to put out for these dinners?
I mean, if they want to.
Yeah, that's right. TMJ. Oh, my gosh, right? But that brings the question, right? I had this thing where I was dating, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to sleep with somebody until I get what I want. Not meaning like...
oral sex.
Yeah, just, like there's a relationship. There's more of a thing.
Emotional
like I feel,
connection.
Yeah, I was like, why? Like, I'd always heard this term, power of the pussy, but I never knew how to use it.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm going to use it, right? It resulted in no dick.
Did you say
zero dick? No dick. There was just no dick. 2019 was a dickless year, minus a threesome. But that was not planned.
Okay.
Yes, I was accosted by some girl, but she was hot, so I let it happen.
Sometimes you got to just roll with it.
I did. I kept laying in this hammock with her head up my skirt going, well, it's going to make a great story one day. It's going to make a great story one day. But then the greatest part was she then, after it was, because her boyfriend was riding a train on the back of her. He didn't touch me, thank God. Uh-huh. And afterwards, she started making out with my friend.
Oh.
And I was just like, so I said the grossest thing. I said, how did my vagina
taste?
She didn't miss a beat. She said, like, Chardonnay. But I never thought in my life, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I didn't think that the person that, like, would then go and, like, attack my friend and make it was
That's funny.
So that was my 19. That's story. Very dry, but very wild.
But I mean, it's almost worth the dickless portion of the year to have that story, right? I think that's a good ratio.
Right.
I do.
Yeah. And I never because people are like, well, I don't think it was a sexless year if you know. And I said the threesome wasn't planned. Like I never even thought I'd hook up with a girl. Like I was on the receiving end. I was just there. Like
you were in the hammock.
Yeah, really. Everyone's like, this took place in a hammock? And I was like, oh, yeah. In a hammock, in some, like, huge mansion.
It sounds amazing. It sounds like a movie.
It was fun. I wish I remembered the girl's name. But I only remember the guy's name because she wouldn't stop screaming it. But, yeah.
It's almost better that you don't remember her name, actually.
Yeah. I have no idea what her name is. But I know his name is Mac. I was like, oh, my God.
Mac. Wow, that's
I hope
Is
they
Mac
listen to
short
this
for
podcast.
McDonald, McDougal? We could wonder for days.
I don't know. I have no idea. He
love
looked
it.
like a trust fund kid with a hockey mullet. Who knows?
Stop it. Oh my God, you're killing me.
Do you ever go to the bathroom and like become friends with women?
All
like
the time?
Right. That's where the lesbians will pick you up.
Oh.
Or like the bisexual people. I didn't realize that. I become friends with a lot of people. I had one experience actually where I was in a bathroom and I was talking to these two girls and they were lovely. And they were like, oh, you should come back and party with us and blah, blah, blah. And it was awesome in the Hamptons, crazy place. And I come out. This is a true story. I walk out with these two girls, arm in arm, because if you go to the bathroom, you're all of a sudden best friends,
You're BFFs,
right?
yeah.
And the guy waiting for him out there just goes, I ain't fucking paying for her. And I was like, what? They were prostitutes. And I was like, oh, sir, don't worry. I don't charge. I've been sucking dick for free for years. Why charge now? You know? But yeah, who would have thought they were prostitutes? Have you ever had any? Like, what are some of your crazy bathroom girl stories?
I don't have any good ones. Yours are way top mine. I don't have any.
Now you're gonna go to a bathroom and be like,
holy shit. Can I go to a bathroom tonight and get some stories? It'll be too late for our podcast, but
yeah. You have to go to the right place, though.
Tell me where to go.
Because I'm trying to think, like, you got to go to, where's the best? You know what's interesting, though? I know you're going to think I'm crazy. I really don't. I have been to a fair amount of strip clubs in my life. Somehow, I don't plan it. I just end up there, right? I just kind of go where my little feet take me. But at Sapphires, the girls get ready in the bathroom. Or, like, they use the same bathroom. So they go in there to do their
They don't have a
shit.
green room?
No. They do, but they don't.
Got it.
Like if they just have to like use the bathroom, like they'll go in there and they have like a madam in the bathroom. Those are interesting stories, but usually they want money up front.
Yeah, of course.
So that's not like a good one. I'm just trying to think what a good one would be. And all the hotels, as you know, like those are filled with prostitutes.
Totally.
Have you ever met a prostitute?
Oh, of course.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I've never met a prostitute except for the two in the bathroom.
You've met them. You just didn't know you were meeting them.
So how did you know you met them?
Well, I mean, I met a girl that was a full-on escort, like $5,000 a pop, like flown to Singapore kind of escort.
Okay, I'm sorry. How do you put an economic value on your vagina? How do you do it?
I mean, it's the oldest job in the world.
No, I know, but how does one person say my vagina is 5,000 and then the next girl comes in, she's like, yeah, I'll bang you for 300. Like what is the value?
I mean, that is almost, this is a deep question, Madison. We could get into a really layered conversation about this because doesn't that filter into everything else that we do? Like, how do we put a value on a podcast? How would we put a value on, our skills as an actor? Or, I mean, you have like a union rate, like a day rate and stuff, but there's no union for prostitutes.
Well, that's true, right? At least you can be like, okay, if I start in accounting, like this is what I should expect to make, and then as I go up. But yeah, I guess if you start in prostitution.
I mean, I also think, like, I don't know if you watched the show The Deuce on HBO. Such a good show.
I don't,
Maggie
but
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's about that in the 70s. It's about the birth of the porn industry. Oh. And, those girls had pimps. Either you had a pimp or you didn't. And if you had a pimp, your pimp took like, 60% of your earnings or more. And you were probably going to get beaten. But if you didn't have a pimp, then you risked getting beaten up by your John. And, but you could make your own rates. And it's just, I mean, really, I think the answer to your question is really it's a supply and demand. And if you think your pussy is worth $5,000, then they will. Build
I'm going
it
to
and they
value
will
my
come.
pussy at $10,000.
Yeah. Quote them a price and see what they come back with you at.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
Just to go in and pretend to be a prostitute, just to see what you can get.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm on discount today. This is on layaway.
It's on layaway.
If this works out, you can pay me with a diamond ring. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I always joked around in my comedy. I said, they're smart women.
Yeah.
They're actually getting a transaction.
Yeah.
Whereas girls are just running around sucking for free. Like, we're the dumb ones. You know what I'm saying? We're like, I'm going to blow this guy for a burger. Yeah, no.
and getting our hearts broken or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, no,
so
they're
my
getting,
vagina is valued at a dinner.
They're getting 5 Gs, a jet to Paris, and a Chanel bag.
And what do they have to do for the $5,000?
I mean, I don't know.
Like anything and everything?
I think, it depends. Like, they have their hard limits and whatever.
I think also it depends on what the guy looks like. Like, I would raise my value if the guy was, like, really, like, if I just, you know what I'm saying?
If he was disgusting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have to be more.
Yeah. But would it be less if he were hot? Like, would Brad Pitt get the super discount rate?
Oh, I'd buy him dinner to bang him. Let's be serious. I'd pay him.
David Beckham? I mean, yeah.
I mean, I'm more of like, I like the nerdy entrepreneurs, I guess. Well, not really.
Right.
But
Elon Musk. Okay,
right.
Elon Musk, yeah.
Would I bang him for free? I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. I'd bang him if he came on my podcast. I mean, let's just be honest. Do you realize I'm going to get Elon Musk on my podcast and everyone's going to be going, wait a second. I'm going to be like, it hasn't happened yet. And then at the end, I'll be like, will you bang? No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
But now you have to. You'll just have to tell him, like, look, this podcast with Jennifer Tracy, we talked about this. So
we'll tag him in it on Twitter.
Yeah.
He'll listen to it.
Yeah.
It'll be hilarious.
Yeah.
But no, that would be one of the things where he would pay because he's got a ton of cash.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, really? No, I can pick up the bill on this one.
Yeah. No, I got this.
Who would you bang for free?
Oh my God, I don't know. I'm such a romantic. Like I was just saying this to my other friend. Like, I've been having this discussion of, am I a love anorexic? Because I haven't had sex with anyone since my ex-boyfriend broke up with me last March, and I haven't wanted to. And
respectable. So we're in the same boat. 2020 should be the year of dick.
Massive dick.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I can't handle that much. But yeah, for you, if you want.
Right. I guess I should qualify. I'm not talking girth and length. I'm talking like quantity of times.
Yes, right. Is Spencer in that booth?
I think he's ignoring us looking at his phone.
Right, he's just like, oh my gosh.
Please, I can't look at this. I think you turned the sound off.
You just
actually.
go massive dick. He's missing everything right now. He's probably laughing so hard. He's like, I have to get out of this podcast fast.
Yes.
Wait, okay, so let's transition from dick into your writing career.
Perfect segue.
Because you are also a writer.
Yes.
And it's always funny because my friends that are like, oh, like people that actually make money writing, they're like, oh, I'm a writer. I'm like, AKA you masturbate all day, right? Because you're like working at home
in front of a mirror with a moist towel,
right?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's like, what do you really, work at home? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How's your lunch break? But no, you are a serious writer,
I am.
and that's actually led you to becoming an amazing coach.
Yes.
And you've coached some amazing people that have like real shit going on.
I love working with writers and like pulling out the story that they are trying to tell, that they want to tell. I mean, most of it is, and from my own experience too, and having my own coach, it's that emotional block of that doubt and fear and imposter syndrome and just thinking, oh, I can't possibly do this because who am I to, write a book or write a memoir or whatever. And it's like, who are you not to, that.
Yeah.
Really.
So when you say pull a story out of somebody, how do you can you walk us through that process a little
absolutely.
bit?
So, I mean, like when someone comes to me and they say, I want to create something, but I don't know what it is, or I have an idea for a book, but it's not taking shape. Like, my job as the coach is to really help them figure out what's the impetus. Like, why did you want to write this in the first place? Like, what was the inspiration? And what's your life story? Like, what's in your past? And, what have you experienced that you want to share on this level in this format? And, put it out into the world. And that really helps them to kind of hone it down either to a narrative story, a fiction, or a memoir, or, whatever it is, a screenplay.
Yeah.
And I love that creative process with somebody. It's really exciting to me.
And so once you pull the story out and they start to read it, like, do you help them kind of format it, edit it?
I don't do editing.
Okay.
I'm not an editor in terms of like, I give notes. Yeah. But I really want to push them to go deeper with the layering of the story. And so, like, if it's just a one-note story, I want them to be like, explore this and go deeper with that, supporting character's role, and why do you have them doing this at this time, and is that realistic, and that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so have you ever worked with somebody who's got stuff on air?
On air or in print,
like on
you mean?
Television or print?
Yeah, I have actually. My friend Nancy, I read her stuff for her and give her notes. She actually just gave me notes on my manuscript.
Nice.
She and her writing partner just got a 3-picture deal with New Line Cinema.
What?
Yeah.
That's a big, a 3-picture deal?
Yeah, and
oh my gosh.
Their movie Rebecca and Quinn Get Scared, which is a brilliant comedy horror film, which I love that genre.
Okay.
Is going to be directed by Trish C.
Wow.
Who directed Pitch Perfect. They're...
And how did she kind of get that big break?
They just kept taking meetings, and her story is so great. Actually, she talks about this in my writer's symposium, which is this series of video interviews I did that it's online. And you can get it for free on my jennifertracy.com site,
okay.
Where I interview really successful authors. And they talked about how they pitched this. And I remember going over it and giving them notes, and they rewrote it, and it was so good. And nobody would look at it. And they're both established writers. Like, it's not like they're not. They had an agent. They were with UTA, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
And nobody would look at it. And all of a sudden, Trish C. got a hold of it. And she was like, who's making this movie? And they were like, nobody. Nope, nobody. And she was like, I'm making it.
Oh, my gosh.
Get your agent on the phone. I want to make this movie. And then so it just takes that one person to kind of say, no, I believe in this. This is good. I'm gonna get this made.
How did they get to her?
I can't remember how that happened, but it made its way onto her desk somehow.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It's almost like whatever's meant to be is going to happen. Yeah. You just got to keep knocking on those doors.
That's right.
And that's so did they have 3 scripts that all went to there, or they said, "Oh, we like it so much we want you to
They have
create
other scripts that they were developing at the time, and so the second one is now in development, I think, and then the third one I think they're currently creating.
Gotcha. Isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And
they're both
great?
moms.
Yeah.
They're both moms. They
oh
both have Nancy's son is my son's age, 10, and then Celine has teenagers.
Wow. So they're just hustling, doing the thing.
Hustling.
And now it's kind of like, it's my time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's really been cool to watch them just like take off.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Because especially when people struggle for years. And we all do.
Yeah.
And
but it really comes down to
break.
getting that break. And the only way you get it is by putting yourself out there.
Right. That's true. Nobody's coming to your basement or
that's
your
right.
bedroom or wherever the hell you live. I don't live. People are going to be like, do you live in a basement? No, I live in a high rise.
I just got a flash to, what is that movie with Clarice? Oh my God. And the fava beans.
Oh my God. I don't know what idea what you're talking about.
Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, when they're in the basement?
Yeah, I got a flash to that guy in the basement. He was like, I'd fuck me. And he's tucking his junk between his legs. Do you remember that movie?
I do remember, but I don't remember that line.
Oh, yeah. He tucks his dick and his balls in between his. I mean, this was 1991, maybe? No, it was before. Maybe it was the 80s.
Okay. Wow.
Why can't I think of the name of that movie? Oh my God, your listeners are going to be like saying it over and over again.
I'm like, that's this.
Yeah. Oh, it's like one of those, Anthony.
Tweet us if you
Anthony
figure
Hopkins,
it out.
Yeah.
When he was young.
No, he was, and Jodie Foster was in it. Anyway, and it's this guy in the basement who's like he gets girls and he lures them in there and he puts them down the well, and then he cuts the skin off their back and makes like dresses out of them.
Oh God.
Anyway,
basements are creepy places.
Basements, so sorry. So I have a dark side, as you're learning.
But that's fine. But basements are a weird place. Like when you're growing up, you want to go to the basement to like get away from your parents to drink or to get finger blasted. And then
wait, finger blasted?
Oh yeah, that's you've never heard of that?
No.
Yeah.
I think I want that.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Does that? I need some clarification.
Just make sure they wash their hands though if they paid for the cab and the last thing they did was touch money because it's disgusting.
Does finger blasting require more than one finger at a time, or is it just like
I don't know. It's
It
just
depends.
what I've called it.
Depends on the user. Okay.
Yeah, right. It depends. Yeah,
Okay.
depends on
All right.
the size.
Finger
I guess.
blasting.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right. It's just
love
like,
it.
yeah, you can't get pregnant. Right. But no, basements were those weird things. I mean, if my friend told me now, like, hey, you want to come over to my basement? I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
That sounds like a terrible idea. But a lot of people, like my brother's furnishing his basement now. They're building they're gonna have a bar in there.
Yeah.
And like
man cave.
a TV state. Yeah, like a little TV lounge. So like they're doing it so they can go to the basement.
Totally.
So obviously people are gonna
We
be
don't
like, hey, you
have
wanna do my
basements
basement?
in California because of the earthquakes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that makes sense.
No basement. So I have a garage, and I just redid the garage into a game room for my son because it was like he had nowhere to be, and he's starting to be a tween,
Yeah.
And so I cleaned out the entire garage. Like, it's so beautiful. It's incredible in there. I've got a mini fridge. I got a TV. I've got all his game consoles. And it is great. I mean, he just goes in there with his friends. He spent the night in there one night.
Isn't
with
that
his friends.
great?
Yeah.
It's good to have a place that you can. Does he have a tree house?
No, he wants one. We don't have really space for it, but he would love a tree house.
I want a tree house.
I know.
That's why I just said I wanted, because if you go to a tree house, I was reading I get subscribed to some blog, I don't know, and they send you some interesting stuff sometimes, and it said tree houses, and it was a place where you can get away on your own to think, and you're above the sky, like you're above your issues, right?
Yes.
So you kind of like,
I love that.
which is cool. So I feel like, gosh, every adult needs a tree house.
Yes.
So you should build a tree house.
I should.
There's some really cool looking tree houses too.
Amazing.
You can drink in a tree house too. Just don't fall out of the tree.
Exactly.
Okay, so we were sorry, I cut you off. We were
didn't.
talking about this. Okay, so how they've come to you, and then you give them notes, and they've got this 3-picture deal, and then somehow we got talking about Hannibal Lecter and basements and finger blasting, and then we were so let's so what if some of the, like, have you worked with showrunners, like TV people, or because you're in LA?
Yeah,
so
I'm in
it's
LA.
kind of like the land of entertainment.
Yep. I mean, sometimes I'll have people come to me that, they get a block and they need just something for me to look at one script or come in the writer's room.
Yeah.
I love doing that too. And the great thing about being a creative consultant is for them, it's just they just pay me a one-time fee, and I'm not like on the staff. I'm not getting credit for it, but it's just like, help us figure out this one block, and that's really fun too.
Isn't that cool, though,
Yeah.
that they, like, value your opinion and your
It is.
thoughts so much?
It is.
That they get to kind of bring you in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Are you still doing any acting?
No. In fact, I just recently told my agents, very lovingly, I love my agents. I've been with them for 20 years. I said, please stop sending me auditions.
Yeah.
Because
well, at least you were honest.
I was just like, I can't, because commercials, I've always done commercials. Since I was like 14, I've been doing commercials. And it's great. It can be great work, but like you get the call, you get the email now at 5 p.m. the night before, and it just blasts your whole day. It finger blasts your whole day.
Right.
Not in a pleasant way. Because you have to reorchestrate your whole life to get to this audition, to maybe get called back, to maybe book it, to maybe get a day rate. And it's like, I'm doing so many other things now that are so much more important to me that I just had to prioritize and say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And, I'm fine with that. But, if my stuff ends up getting made, then I always say, like, I'm going to do like a Martin Scorsese and do like a walk by in one of my stuff.
So do you have any desire to get movies or television shows?
So I've written this book. I was telling you before we hit record.
Yes.
So I just signed with a literary agent because I've written this book. Yeah, I'm so excited.
My God, so excited.
So, and I would like for the book to become a TV show. I mean, I can definitely see it as a TV show. It's about a mom who becomes a dominatrix.
Oh, that's sexy.
Yeah. So yes, I mean, ultimately, I would love to have that happen.
Yeah, and is it kind of formatted and written that way to where it can continue on and
easily?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've got 2 great friends.
Yeah.
They're gonna have quite the reputation, and kind of go in. Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. So what was the motivation to write about a mom who became a dominatrix? There had to have been something in you.
That's such a great question. So let's see. After I'd come out of the postpartum depression and I'd gotten treatment for it, I started to feel better.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend, who's now one of my best friends, at preschool. Our kids were in preschool together. She said, "Hey, do you want to come?" She said, "I'm a pole dancer." And I was like, "That's sexy as fuck." And she said, "Do you want to come to a class with me?" And so I followed her to her pole dancing class. And I felt awkward. And again, I had been a belly dancer. I had been a professional burlesque dancer. I had gone to Europe and done burlesque dancing there. It wasn't like I was prudish about my body, but it was just something about the way this movement was. It was in a dark room with no mirrors, all women. It was very intimate and personal and so sexy. And at the end of the show, they have the person do a demo. So my friend was the person that did a demonstration, like her own dance where we all sat and watched her. And
Wow.
I mean, this is a woman that I'd seen as a mom every day. She had her own struggles with her daughter. I had my struggles with my son, just being a mom, just the regular stuff, like potty training your kid, like all the things. When she started like taking her clothes off and like hiking up this pole and swirling around the pole and like swirling her ass, I was like, am I gay?
I know.
Because I was so like aroused and just awakened, and I was like, what? And then I realized like I'm not gay. Not that I wouldn't be for the right girl.
Right, that's true.
But that I was just awakening to something in me. So that led to a journey of me starting to take pole dancing, which I've been taking for the last 7 years.
Great workout, too.
It is such a good workout.
Yeah.
And initially the book was going to be about that. It was going to be about a mom who felt dead inside and then woke up to herself when she started taking pole dancing. But when I was working on that, it just didn't translate into prose, into a novel for some reason, for me, for my story. And so I remember my writing coach and I were talking about it, and she said, you know what? She said, my daughter, when she was in college, like answered a Craigslist ad and was a dominatrix for one night. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. It's like, do tell.
And so she told me a little bit of that story, and I said that's it. That's what the main character is going to do.
Yeah.
And so it led me into that and led me into doing research, and I ended up getting a trainer who, like, I was his submissive. I'll tell you.
And submissive is
the bottom. Like, so you're the one who gets like
beaten.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. Did it hurt?
Oh, it hurt like a motherfucker.
Really?
I will, after the podcast, I'll show you pictures of my ass afterwards. I mean, I was black. I did not like it. I'm not a submissive. It wasn't for me. But I learned so much.
Did you do the other side of it too?
I did.
Wow. What do you think psychologically goes on in somebody's mind when they're like, I want to be beaten and this is going to turn me on? What is it?
I'll tell you. So it's fascinating. And I can't obviously answer for everybody, but in a broad sense, it is this psychosexual piece of surrendering yourself so vulnerably to someone in this sexual way and bodily way that at the end of the day, you're in control of the pain that you're receiving. Now, in the world, and maybe if you've had, abuse in your life or, you've received physical or emotional abuse, you can't control that. You have no control over an abusive parent, an abusive boyfriend, like whatever it is, life coming at you and hurting. But when you're in that, they call it a scene, in that BDSM scene,
okay,
you have control. You know that there's a start and an end time. You know that you've set up the parameters with your dom or your dominatrix.
Right.
And you know what the pain is going to be. Now, for me, I didn't like it. I was just like, oh my God, this just really fucking hurts my ass.
Yeah.
Like I got caned, I got flogged, I got spanked.
What is a flog?
A flog is like it's got a long handle on it, and then it's got leather tassels that are long. So it's like soft leather that kind of but if someone hits it really hard, it could hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is crazy.
It's crazy.
And so did you feel that you became more like sexually empowered through this experience, or?
I didn't. At the time, I had already written the book, and I was just doing this to deepen the scenes where I had the dominatrix part. But it didn't. It just made me realize the psychological piece of really giving yourself over to somebody else. I mean, in this case, it was this man that I hired to train me and to like teach me theory and philosophy and like history of this, because he's just incredible, this man.
Yeah.
in Los Angeles. Like he's very famous for his double bullwhip work. Like he's amazing.
Wow.
And he's so kind. He's just this beautiful man.
Yeah.
So, but it just made me realize, one of the things he taught me was, he said, submissives are the strongest people I know. And he said that to me before I was his submissive. And it was a 40-minute session, but it felt like 10. But
Wow.
I mean, it was intense. And it's almost, the way I can describe it is like, if you've ever taken a yoga class, like when you're in a yoga class and it's a really fucking hard pose and you just think you're going to die, but you just have to keep breathing through it.
Yeah.
Like to get through it. But then you get to the other side of it and you're like, I did that. And there's relief and your body can relax. It's kind of like that. Except it has this really intense psychosexual piece, you know?
So are there like private rooms that you go into for this?
It depends. There's all different kinds of places. There's a lot of, there are dominatrixes that work privately only. You know, they rent out a space. There are dungeons. Like there's one downtown. Isabella Sinclair owns her own space. She will do her own, she has her own private clients, or she'll rent that room out to other doms, pro doms, who have their clients.
There's a lot of people looking for this.
Oh yeah, it's a huge scene. I mean, there's people who there are lifestyle people who live it 24/7, and then there's people that just go in and they pay and they have their scene and then they leave.
Because it just turns them on. Is that why they do it?
I think there's a million different reasons. I think it turns them on. I think it's a release. You know, maybe they have a really shitty life at home and this is the only place they can have fun, or maybe they have an amazing life and this is how they keep their sex life fresh with their wife or husband or partner.
Are there orgasms involved in these sessions?
They're not. I mean, legally, I'm learning more and more about, there's a lot of laws. Like any of the establishments are going to have laws. I mean, what you do in your private home is your own business.
True.
You know, but, you know, generally speaking, it's not about a sex act. You know, oral or penetration or any of that. It's not about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's great. It's a whole world.
Because it's like, I've seen in movies like hot candle wax being poured on people.
People do that. Oh,
heels.
Sir Nick is my trainer. He told me in one time, bless you, he told me in one of our sessions, I was like, what's some of the craziest shit you've done? Because he's worked in clubs for years and years. He doesn't as much now because he has another business. But he said, oh, one time I had this woman, this is so crazy. She wanted me to fist her with hot sriracha sauce on my hand.
For what?
Because she liked the sensation.
Oh my gosh.
People want like needles in their genitalia. Like, yes, I know. There's some very extreme stuff out there.
Right.
You know, down to the very mild of like someone who just wants to be spanked and blindfolded, you know?
Right. That's like the mild stuff for like tie me up, you know?
Yeah.
But that's like pretty.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The more like shades of gray, which is the very mild.
Yeah. So is your book going to be a little like, not like kind of the 50 Shades of Grey where women are going to read this or men are going to read this and they're going to get all turned on?
No. My book is more about the main character and how it is a little racy and a little sexy, but it's more about how she moves through it. I mean, you're inside her head in the book, so you're kind of really experiencing, she's a mom. She's kind of feels schlubby. She hasn't worked out in 3 years. Her kid's in preschool. Her husband, they don't have sex. And when they do, it's like 3 seconds. And so she walks into this place and she's thinking all these things like, and she's wearing heels and a corset and that feels weird. And so she has all those thoughts of like, and comedic thoughts of like, this is crazy. What's going to happen? Am I going to, you know, they're having her sign a release and she's like, oh my God, am I going to die in a freak BDSM accident? They're going to tell my son that's how I kicked the bucket, you know, stuff like that.
Is there a little bit of you in this character?
Maybe a little.
I feel like it always is for every writer, right? Because it's kind of like, where are these characters coming from? It's always somebody you relate to, a side of you that maybe is there, but you never could do it type thing. So it's like a secret fantasy side. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Yeah. And so what do you think is next for you? So this book
I just made a little weird noise into the
good.
Microphone. I'm so sorry.
You can do whatever you want on the Next to Madison podcast.
It was like,
you can burp, you can fart. I mean, I've never had anyone fart. Never, ever. But that's going to happen at one time.
I'm sure at some point. I've never had anyone fart on mine either. That would be Yeah.
That you know of, right?
Exactly. And you just have to call it out when those things happen. It's like, what are you going to do? So what's next for me? I am, more writing. Now that I have an agent, this wonderful, amazing woman is my agent, we're going to move forward with like getting the book out there and getting it published and then move on from there. And then I have other stories I want to write, other books.
Well, yeah, it's kind of it's that one thing you were saying. It's that one door that kind of opens. And so wait, are you dating now?
Oh, right. Sorry, we never got back to that.
No, because it's not totally off kilter or off topic or whatever the word is. Because sometimes when we're waiting for a big opportunity or something big to happen or that door to open, like for me, I wasn't exactly where I wanted to be in my career, so I kind of held myself back. So I didn't know if that was maybe something you were doing. So I was like, okay, are you dating? Or because this could be a very life-changing moment for you.
Right.
To where it's like, are you even going to want to date the same guys that you did?
Right.
I don't know.
I am not dating anyone.
Okay. She's available.
Currently not dating anyone. And we'll just see, when the right person comes, I think we'll both just probably be like, hello.
Right.
Yeah.
So wait, and we're not on any apps? You're like done after the fork fiasco?
The fork fiasco killed it for me. No apps.
Right.
No, I can't. No, not for me. But like I said, I have friends who love it and they enjoy themselves.
Do they have jobs? Well, it just seems like it's
Yeah, it's a full-time job. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like I have a hard enough time going to dinner with my friends that I love.
I know.
Let alone like somebody that I might not even.
I know. And
that's why you got to do coffee.
Seconds, you got to do coffee.
Right.
That's right.
You give it 30, 40 minutes.
Tops.
Yep.
Sometimes even 15.
Right, because then it's like at least and you're not wasting anybody's money or time.
No, this one was a full dinner. Yeah, no, this was dinner, and then we walked to drinks, and he was sweet. It wasn't like he was a bad person. It was just like, oh no.
Yeah, no, the fork in the teeth.
No,
and I'm like, here's some dental floss. Get your shit together. Like, crazy. But you know what? I think that some of those dating stories can be fun though.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
Yeah.
I know I've actually been pretty lucky. I haven't really had any dating horror stories. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's time.
I know.
You can still have one. Not that I wish that upon you. I wish that 2020.
Yes.
Massive dick,
great.
Quantity, not girth.
Yes. Right? This is true. I know. I was like, I'm a tiny girl. Can't handle that much dick. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The woman that was on a couple of weeks ago, she was like, you have to massage your vagina, love your vagina, insert shit into your vagina. It was a lot of vagina talk.
Oh.
It was a lot.
It wasn't Ami, was it? Or Amani?
No, it was a menopause doctor.
Oh, menopause doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Very world renowned. And
wow.
Yeah. But it's true. I guess.
You have to massage and insert and.
Well, they say a healthy vagina is an active vagina. And if you're not active,
right,
then you have to.
I do remember
masturbate at least once a week.
I asked my gynecologist, who's also my friend, which is always weird when I go in for my yearly. I'm like, oh, but anyway.
Right, that is, yeah, I'm not friends with my gynecologist. No, nor do I ever want to be.
But it's just day in, day out for her. It's she always says she's saving the world one vagina at a time. But I asked her that. I was like, do I need to worry about drying up? Or she was like, you masturbate, right? I was like, yeah. And she was like, then don't worry about it. And she said it's the same thing, like use it or lose it. Like that just, the moisture creates more moisture.
Yeah.
Moisture begets moisture.
Right, that's right. Some people hate that word. They're like, ugh!
Moist, I know.
Ugh.
I'm just going to keep saying it.
I have no problem with it. It's like, oh my gosh. So what, let's see what else I wanted to ask you before we wrapped up. I do always like to ask this because you're a very like strong, confident woman. Where do you get your confidence from? Like, have you always been that way?
No.
Okay.
Oh, God, no.
So let's talk about that.
No.
Because a lot of women struggle with, we just have a harder time in life than men do because there's so much pressure on us.
Yeah.
Your hair's got to look good and your skin's got to look young. And it's like.
It's exhausting.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So how did you build Because you are extremely confident. You carry yourself wonderfully. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, I got to be honest, a lot of that comes from my sobriety. I'm 21 years sober.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. I got sober when I was 23, and I went into a 12-step program, and that's kind of where I grew up. Like, I learned how to boil it down. That's where I learned that there's a middle way, you know, because before my sobriety and I always just thought, and I struggled with, and sometimes I'll struggle with it, is like, I would either think I was the greatest thing on earth or like the biggest piece of shit that nobody cared about. And it's like, well, you're neither. You're a woman. You're just a person like on earth doing your thing and like, you know, among millions of other people doing their thing. And so it really just gave me that sort of grounded humility to be able to keep coming back to this right-sized thinking of like, I'm just me. I don't have to constantly have an opinion about myself or my hair or my skin. And I struggle with that now. I mean, I'm 44 and it's a thing. It's like, oh, you know, I've got this wrinkle and that wrinkle. And
you look amazing.
Thank you. But it's just a fact of nature.
Yeah.
And so it's like deciding on, and I'm on Instagram constantly, like doing, you know, and it's like I have to look at myself and I have to just remember like, my most valuable commodity is my mind and my soul, because my body is going to age. It just is going to age.
And it's going to physically stay here.
Yeah.
Like your body, you know, this is just your vehicle to get you through life.
That's right.
So you're not, you know, that's why people should not be like, I'm so hot.
Right. Or I'm so not hot.
Right. Because
either
it doesn't matter. It matters what you are on the inside.
Yeah. And like who you're helping, really. So I would say learning how to be of service and like help people. And that's why I love helping writers. And, you know, if I can help someone get sober or whatever, like that's really meaningful too. But
yeah.
So kind of just finding that middle way is, I guess, how I maintain that sort of relaxed. Like, just I was so happy to come and sit here with you and
oh my gosh, I'm so honored that you reached out. And I was like, what? I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk to her.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, this is so much fun, and I'm so excited to see like what's next for you and to read the book. Will you send me an autographed copy?
Absolutely.
When
Are
it
you
goes
kidding?
out?
I'll come deliver it personally.
Oh my gosh, I would love that.
Yeah.
When I go to LA, I want to come on. Well, I can't come on the MILF podcast, so I pop one out. I've got some eggs on Fifth Avenue though, so I'm halfway to being a mom.
Well, when you come to LA, just come visit. We'll go have dinner.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah,
that would be
please.
really, really fun. I would love that. Well, thank you so much. Where can everybody find you?
Yes.
Okay, let's plug you. Come on.
Yes, you can find me either at my website, jennifertracy.com, no E in Tracy, or milfpodcast.com.
And that's moms I'd like to follow.
That's right.
Or fuck.
Yeah.
But it depends on
who you are and what your fee is, if it's 10K or 5K.
This is true. Value of the vagina. This is what we learned. Well, thank you so much. And your Instagram handle, just so, because people are kind of.
Yeah. It's Jennifer Tracy _.
Jennifer _Tracy?
I know.
Jennifer Tracy
_.
Okay, gotcha. They'll find you. And the MILF podcast is a separate one?
Nope, it's all the same.
It's all the same.
I consolidated.
So check her out, you guys. She's amazing. She's great. This was such a fun conversation. You got stuff out of me that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I talked about my threesome on my podcast. But it happened. Finger blasting.
Threesome.
Massive dick.
All of it.
Yeah.
So
no,
happy.
what was it? Massive amount. Quantity, not size.
Yeah. Quantity, not girth and width. Girth and length.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
and
for having
you
me.
guys listening at home or in your cars or playing with yourself, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Next to Madison. We'll see you guys next time to find out who's next. Hi, your host, Madison Malloy here. I just wanted to remind you guys to please follow the show on social media at Next to Madison. And if you have any questions or suggestions for the show, or you feel that you would be a great guest on the show and would love to be considered, please feel free to email me at nexttomadison@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms. And I thank you again for listening.